Hi, family. It's Varion Walton. We are being joined today by a man that I think is really interesting and I really wanted to introduce you to. He's a guest that's kind of dropping knowledge, if you will, like hot biscuits. Did I say that? Yes, you are definitely going to get hungry during this segment because today we're talking to a Rhodes, excuse me, he is a Rhodes Scholar of sorts. He's a food scholar and his name is Adrian Miller. Adrian, thank you so much for joining us.
All right. Thanks for having me on your show.
Tell me about what you're doing with your book. It's soul food.
Right. So it's not a cookbook. It's actually a history of the cuisine. And so what I show is the story from West Africa to the American West, because soul food brings together West Africa, Western Europe, and the Americas. And so it's all about that story. So the way I wrote the book is I created a representative soul food meal. I write a chapter about every part of the meal and I explain what it is, how it gets on the soul food plate, what it means for the culture. And then most chapters have recipes, traditional, health conscious, and a fancy one in case you want to show off as a cook.
Okay, and you know what's interesting? We are here at Herman's Soul Food in Chattanooga, and I've got a plate of wings here before me, as well as fish and coleslaw.
There you go.
Okay, you mean to tell me you can give me the origin of the meal we're about to eat?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Tell me about it.
So the fried chicken part, obviously that's not really native to West Africa, because in West Africa, even though chickens arrive around 1000 AD, the way they make chicken is they do a fricassee. So basically they kind of quick fry it and then they braise it in a liquid. So having fried chicken like this is more European influence, but because of enslaved African American cooks in the big house in the South and stuff, we gained a lot of expertise in making this dish. And so this is something we just kind of own. And then the fried fish, that's definitely a part of West Africa, because along the coastline of West Africa is where most people who have African heritage in this country come from. And they had fish all over the place. And fried fish is a special treat. So what's unique about this food is that when you look at soul food, it's really the special occasion food of the South that leaves the South and starts getting transplanted into all these parts of the country. Because a lot of people think soul food needs a warning label. It's unhealthy. It's going to kill you if you eat a lot of it. Well, it's special occasion food. And that was food to be meant to be eaten every once in a while. Because if you look at what enslaved African Americans were eating during slavery, pretty much it was vegetables that are seasonal and with some water. And then the things like fried chicken, fish, the glorious cobblers, pies, and cakes, that was something on weekends and on holidays.
So you're telling me that it's everything in moderation.
That's right.
And you know, as I listen to you talk about this, I think that's what was so interesting about repasses and funerals. You know, when I saw you in another interview where you were showing a shot of a pound cake, everybody can remember a sister in the church that could put her foot, as we used to say, in a pound cake. Tell me about that.
All right. So, the church, for a lot of people in the rural South, that was our country club. That was the time when people came together. So it was a high occasion, because a lot of times in the rural South, just because of the geographic isolation, people had church maybe once or twice a month. And that was your chance to see everybody and show off as a cook. So that's when they would make the fried chicken, the pound cakes, the cobblers, and all of that. And again, it was about worship, but it was also about community and fellowship. So the grand traditions of barbecue, the fish fries, all of that traces back to the church in the rural South. Now, when people leave the South and go to cities, they replicate all of that. So the church was, again, a social center in the cities.
Guys, you just heard Adrian talk about the origin of soul food, and who knew there's a serious history behind fish and yams and greens. But you know what? In our next segment, be sure to stay with us, because we're going to talk to him about some of the cooks who have worked in the White House. That's right. He calls them the White House kitchen cabinet. You don't want to miss that one. It's our next feature as we talk more in depth with Adrian Miller. Spread the word, vision, voice, Varion. Always on, always connected.